Around the world, local communities are confronting the impacts of climate change. On the front lines, community-led adaptation champions are building climate resilience through inspiring initiatives. At the Global Center on Adaptation, we spotlight and support locally led adaptation efforts by communities and individuals on the front line. Our Locally Led Adaptation Champions Awards are designed to reward inspiring, innovative and scalable locally led solutions from across the globe. Last year at COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, we recognized 4 organizations for their pioneering adaptation efforts in their communities.
So we connect these local communities who know what the problems are and the solutions are to where the big money is.
In 2023, we will award winners in 4 categories: capacity building, business adaptation solutions, women in leadership, innovation in devolving finance.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anju Sharma, and I lead the program on locally led adaptation at the Global Center on Adaptation. Thank you for coming and joining us today to recognize and celebrate the inspirational work of local leaders and adaptation champions to reduce the impacts of climate change on the most vulnerable. We owe them a great debt. It is their actions that will make a direct difference on the ground, saving lives, livelihoods, and crucial assets of the poor. It is only fitting that we take a moment from the chaos of COP to recognize their extraordinary efforts and innovations on the front line in the face of a global crisis. The Global Adaptation Champions Awards were initiated last year. The purpose was to recognize local champions and to support them in inspiring and informing adaptation efforts elsewhere. But also, crucially for us at the Global Center on Adaptation, it was to support the scaling up of their work by linking them to peers who can better benefit from collaborating with them and linking them to larger sources of funding. We do this through our adaptation acceleration programs in Africa and Asia, where we support local communities to map and profile climate vulnerabilities, identify priorities, and then to inform investments by international financial institutions. In this way, we aim to make traditional sources of development and adaptation finance more responsive to local adaptation needs. Last year, we had 4 winners. 2 of them are actually represented here again, so may I request them to stand up, please? We have the winners from Nepal and the winners from Kenya. So I'm very pleased to report that 2 of the 4 winners received matching funds from their governments after receiving the awards to scale up their work. All of them reported increased interest in their work from governments and donors and widespread recognition through national media. One of the winners received additional support from the Adaptation Fund to participate in the readiness activities of the fund. And this was just not so that it would support them in their fundraising efforts, but actually so that they could speak to the other people who were going through the readiness program and influence them to take on locally led adaptation approaches. And we are working with one of the winners under the Africa Adaptation Acceleration Program to embed their LLA approaches in investments by a bilateral agency in another country. This year, the number of applications we had for the awards more than doubled from last year. Over 500 applications were received from 84 countries, and not just from developing countries. It was not an easy job for the technical advisory group and the high-level jury to select just 4 winners. But we will make sure that the learning, wisdom, and experience contained in all the application is captured in the stories on our global hub on LLA, which was launched by the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Her Excellency Sheikh Hasina, in December last year, and in our annual publication on LLA, which we have some copies here, but we also have it online on the global hub. I really encourage you to visit it. So there was a lot to be gleaned from the applications that we received on the state of play on LLA this year, but given the limited time, I'll just mention a couple of them. The first is that we get the most applications and the strongest applications from a certain set of countries. These are the countries that have demonstrated a real commitment to devolved governance, backed by devolved systems and channels of finance. So for instance, 15% of the applications this year were from Kenya. The second is that the providers of finance for the winning LLA projects are also predictable. The finance may not be predictable, but the funders are. Clearly, some of them are doing things differently and doing things right and have an important role to play in influencing their fellow providers of finance. One of the clear lessons from the LLA publication I mentioned earlier is that it is important that we don't leave poor communities to take on all the risks posed by climate change. Providers of finance also need to be willing to take more risks to make sure that climate finance reaches where it is most needed. Another interesting insight for me personally, at least, was our response to our Business Adaptation Solutions. I didn't think we'd receive many applications there, but we ended up actually receiving the second largest after capacity building in that category. There were more than 100. And many more than even Devolving Climate Finance, for which we received 49. So clearly on the ground, private sector engagement in adaptation is thriving, but we just need to change our mindset of thinking only of the role of big companies and focusing a lot more on the enormous potential for adaptation to generate jobs and entrepreneurship at the local level. Now, before I move on to announcing the awards, I'd like to thank our partners. We have here a very strong presence from Bangladesh, which is only fitting given that the global hub on LLA is based in Dhaka. Thank you to His Excellency Sabir Hussain Chowdhury, the climate envoy from Bangladesh, Dr. Farina Ahmed, Secretary of the Bangladesh Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change, and the rest of the Bangladesh delegation for joining us today. My sincere thanks also to Vijay Rangarajan, Director General of the UK Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, for his support of the GCA's LLA program and for being here today. Thanks to Mikko Ollikainen, Head of the Adaptation Fund. For those of you who don't know, the Adaptation Fund will also support this year's winners to join their readiness events that they organize for the fund. We value your partnership on the awards and on LLA greatly. Thank you. Thanks to Dag Jörgen, Head of the Climate Group in the Swedish Ministry of External Affairs, for coming, and for your enlightened leadership on climate finance for LLA. We have several of our esteemed members for the Technical Advisory Group present, not just from this year, but also from last year. Thank you for your hard work. We know it wasn't easy, but you didn't complain. Well, not that much anyway. So finally, to recognize someone who is not here, but was quietly supportive from the front row last year, a person who has inspired so many of us working in locally led adaptation. Professor Salim ul Haq, a friend to me and so many of us. I know how much we mourn his passing and deeply miss him. But I also know that Salim would not want us to dwell on his absence. He would be urging us with a smile to get on with the mission that meant so much to him. We will now hear a few words of welcome from His Excellency Ban Ki-moon, 8th Secretary General of the United Nations and Chair of GCA's Supervisory Board.
Good afternoon. I'm pleased to welcome you to the 2023 Local Adaptation Champions Awards ceremony. This year, more than 500 applications were received from individuals and organizations in 92 countries. We are delighted to see the Caribbean and Latin America joining us for the first time. This is a testament to the success of both last year's awards and the Global Center on Adaptation's Global Hub on Locally Led Adaptation. As we all know, local adaptation is needed now more than ever, and by giving them visibility as well as support, I am confident that we are set firmly on a rising path of progress. Extreme weather events are now a constant presence in news headlines. Heat waves, droughts, wildfires, and floods are more frequent and more severe. The impacts of climate change is manifest everywhere. But adaptation measures can build resilience to climate change. And the Local Adaptation Champions Awards are a brilliant way to show how locally led projects are the most effective means of getting communities involved in finding solutions and making sure they go forward. I would like to thank every individual and organization who applied from the bottom of my heart. Adapting to climate change has never been more urgent. This is and always will be a team effort. If I had the power to do so, I would make all of you winners. But as it is, my hearty congratulations to the four that we are recognizing tonight. Let me reiterate, all of you are ambassadors for adapting locally to climate change. You are doing vital work, and the greatest recognition of this must be that your efforts will be rewarded by a massive increase in finance for climate adaptation, making the world safer, stronger, and more prosperous for all of us. We are working hard to raise global finance, making it a key priority for the world's decision makers. But we could not do that without you. Together we can and must succeed. Thank you everyone, and enjoy the ceremony.
I would now like to invite Mr. Vijay Rangarajan, Director General at FCDO UK, to say a few words.
Thank you, Anju. Thank you to all of you for coming. This is the nice part of COP. We all relax for a minute. And as you said, you come out of the hustle, the bustle outside and look at some of the amazing things that have happened since last year and in communities around the world. As Anju says, I'm Vijay Rangarajan. I'm from FCDO. We help fund some of this, but most of all, I'm on the supervisory board of GCA. So on behalf of the board, I'd like to say a very big thank you to Anju, to all of the people on the technical advisory team who went through 500 different applications for this. I can see nodding in the audience from the people who did it. It must have been quite a pleasure to see some of the amazing work that was going on. But it's fantastic to see how many applications there were. I just want to say three things. Locally led adaptation. The local part is incredibly important. The second is even more. And this is why I think the leadership you have all shown, all of the 500 have shown locally, is so crucial, and why it needs to be globally recognized by all of us and everyone here at COP. So if I can make one point about this gathering now, it's global recognition of local leadership. And I think that is incredibly important. And why? Because we're going to need a lot more of it. We are going to need many people, points of light, rays of hope, showing that you can cope with what is coming on climate change and making a success of it. And then we, the global community, and many around you, need to back that, as the Secretary General said, with finance and much other backing. Having looked through the winners, I think I see four key strands. There are communities. Stella was explaining to me hers earlier. There's technology, as we were discussing. There's finance that we all know about. And then finally, there's action. And if there's one thing about these that is incredibly impressive, it's that you've taken action. And I think Anju was right. It's very interesting to see the countries where action is possible and happening, and that we all need to learn from as well. But the fact that action is taking place now in what otherwise can be really quite difficult circumstances, and you heard the Secretary General give the statistics on how difficult things can be, but that is an incredibly important thing. Final point from me, Anju mentioned the private sector. One of the themes I've been hearing over the last week in COP, particularly on adaptation, particularly the need for blended finance, has been the role of the private sector. There's one thing that we can really look to do, it's step up private sector investment into adaptation programs around the world to really make them much, much bigger. And I hope that these awards and much of the other work that many of you are doing will really help to do that. So just finally, thank you to all who applied. Thank you to all who sifted. But most of all, massive congratulations to the winners.
Thank you, Vijay. You're right. I think that finally, after all these years of talking about the importance of local action, there seems to be some wind behind the sails and some actual push for this. So that's something that I think is a positive sign, I hope. I'd like to invite Mikko Ollikainen, Head Adaptation Fund, to say a few words, please.
Thank you very much, Anju. It's such a pleasure to be in this very special and important occasion. I stand here among many dedicated champions of adaptation, and it's an honor to be a part of this initiative that seeks to recognize the truly outstanding efforts of the people who tirelessly wrestle with the greatest challenge that our current generation faces, climate change. The Adaptation Fund recognizes the paramount importance of supporting local adaptation champions and our unwavering commitment to local-led adaptation. As pioneers of direct access, the Adaptation Fund has been at the forefront, championing support for over 150 projects around the world in developing countries, mobilizing a substantial financial commitment exceeding $1 billion since 2010. The fund has supported a number of initiatives that are based on local-led adaptation, numerous projects, as well as our AFCIA program, which is short for Adaptation Fund Climate Innovation Accelerator. This program extends its reach to a diverse array of entities, including entrepreneurs, including innovators, the private sector, NGOs, and various communities, all diligently working towards local-level solutions to address challenges posed by climate change. I have the great pleasure to repeat what Anju has already said, that the Adaptation Fund supports the GCA Local Adaptation Champion Awards 2023. The fund provides awardees with an invaluable opportunity to share their experience and insight with an international audience of professionals engaged in designing and implementing adaptation projects in vulnerable communities around the world. This includes active participation in our annual readiness events and other knowledge-sharing initiatives. We firmly believe that such collaboration not only fortifies the communities directly engaged in Adaptation Fund, but also propels the global pursuit for locally led adaptation. So, as we convene to celebrate the remarkable achievements of these 4 finalists, I'm eager to learn the details of their initiatives. Their stories and insights transcend individual success narratives. They serve as powerful testaments to the impact of community-led action in the face of climate challenges. Each initiative embodies a unique approach to adaptation, innovation, and resilience, serving as inspiration for our ongoing endeavors on locally led adaptation. In conclusion, let us not underestimate the transformative power of locally led efforts, collaboration and innovation, and continuous learning. The Adaptation Fund remains steadfast in its commitment to serving as a source of support, contributing to the resilience of vulnerable communities in developing countries against the impacts of climate change. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mikko. We look forward to working with you on strengthening the Adaptations Fund already considerable efforts on LLA. Thank you. Now it's time for what you've been waiting for, announcing the winners. We'll start with the Women in Leadership category. This category is for local, national, or global women leaders who design, champion, and/or lead adaptation and climate resilience efforts in and for local communities. I would like to invite His Excellency Dr. Selimani Saidi Jaffo, Minister of State of Environment and Climate Change, Vice President's Office, United Republic of Tanzania, to please reveal the winner.
The winner in the Women Leadership category is the Pastoral Women Council of Tanzania.
In northern Tanzania, climate change-related hazards like droughts and flooding threaten livelihoods and create food insecurity for pastoralist societies. In these communities, women have limited opportunities to access resources or gain income from climate-resilient livelihoods, but their knowledge of drought mitigation and adaptation strategies are crucial. The Pastoral Women's Council Tanzania is increasing women's inclusion in traditionally men-only spaces in indigenous pastoralist communities. Members of the Lake Natron community are accepting the award on behalf of all members of the Pastoral Women's Council Tanzania, the winner in the Women in Leadership category. Indigenous pastoralist women undertake training and then form committees that plan, implement, and monitor climate change adaptation actions in their communities, like grass seed banks, which have restored degraded land and provide income-generating activities for women, and rainwater harvesting, which ensures access to water during dry seasons using affordable, sustainable technologies. This Local Adaptation Champions Award will provide leadership training to 50 climate change adaptation women champions, and 5 women groups will be trained about grass seed banks and rainwater harvesting. Congratulations to the Pastoral Women's Council Tanzania, empowering women to claim their rights and achieve equality as decision makers in pastoralist societies.
We would like to invite Stella James, who's here to receive the award on behalf of the Pastoral Women's Council Tanzania. So if you could. Stella, would you say a few words to us, please?
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm pleased, dear India Hannah, to accept this award on behalf of the Pastoral Women Council, the women and the pastoral community, and the people of Tanzania. Our gratitude goes out to the Global Center for Adaptation and esteemed members of the steering of the advisory committee for this great recognition. This fuels our determination to work hard toward a sustainable and resilient future. I would like to express our appreciation to all of our supporters and friends who have been instrumental in supporting our initiative to create a sustainable change in our targeted groups. As we celebrate this moment of joy and inspiration, let it serve as a reminder of the collective power we hold to make a difference and valuable contribution of women in development initiative. Thank you.
Next, we move on to the awards in the the capacity building category. This category includes innovations and initiatives that support a continuous and iterative process of learning for local communities, governments, and organizations based on established need and to enable inclusive local decision-making that is sustained beyond project cycles, for instance, by leaving an institutional legacy. I would like to invite Camilla Zepeda, Director General for Global Affairs at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mexico, to announce the winner in the capacity building category.
And the winner in the capacity building category is Espacio de Encuentro de las Culturas Originarias de México. Muchas felicidades.
Oaxaca, a region of Mexico that sees frequent droughts, frosts, and cyclones. Here, communities are benefiting from affordable, relevant, and innovative eco-technologies that make them better able to adapt to extreme weather events. Meet the winners in the capacity building category of the Local Adaptation Champions Awards. Espacio de Encuentro de las Culturas Originarias, AC. This initiative engages communities in the development and implementation of eco-technologies like dry toilets, energy-saving stoves, fog catchers, and garden irrigation systems. Workshops inform beneficiaries about adaptation to climate change so they can construct, use, and maintain these eco-technologies. This creates and strengthens the community's capacities and ensures the project's long-term sustainability. Local government representatives are directly involved in planning activities, and community liaisons address the specific needs of their communities and act as interpreters for those who speak indigenous languages. Semi-annual meetings are held with beneficiaries and authorities to report on the project's activities and finances. In operation for just over a decade, the project now reaches 15,000 people, including children. Congratulations to Espacio de Encuentro de las Culturas Originarias, AC. Utilizing eco-technologies and sharing knowledge to strengthen capacities for adaptation to climate change.
I would like to invite Zinnia Carranza to accept the award on behalf of her organization. Zinnia, could you say a few words to us, please?
Voy a hablar en español. Muchísimas gracias al Centro Global de Adaptación por esta gran oportunidad. Quiero agradecer infinitamente a todo el equipo de ECO, que somos los que hacemos posible esto. Y por supuesto a todas las personas que nos han apoyado, las organizaciones, las fundaciones que han confiado en nosotros y nos han dado la oportunidad de construir estas capacidades. Y por supuesto, y sobre todo, a los pueblos indígenas con los que trabajamos, a las mujeres y a los hombres con los que trabajamos día a día, que confían en nosotros y que nos han permitido hacer este proceso con ellos y poder ir transformando y poniendo una semillita día a día. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, and congratulations, Inya, to you and your organization. The next category is the Business Adaptation Solutions category, which is for small and large businesses that have supported leadership by local communities and governments in adaptation efforts, helped address structural inequalities faced by women, youth, children, disabled, displaced, indigenous peoples, and marginalized ethnic groups that make them more vulnerable to the impact of climate change, and/or developed and made easily available adaptation solutions or technologies that address local climate vulnerabilities. I would like to invite Vijay Rangarajan to please present the award and to announce the winner of the Business Adaptation Solutions category.
I think I have to gasp appropriately here. The winner in the Business Adaptation Solutions category is Aumsat Technologies India.
In India, water scarcity is a pressing concern, and climate change is further intensifying this issue. But technology can now pinpoint underground water sources and identify optimal locations for groundwater recharge sites. Meet the winners in the Business Adaptation Solutions category of the Local Adaptation Champions Awards. Aumsat Technologies LLP. Innovatively harnessing satellite-based radar analytics, Aumsat can remotely locate pipeline leaks in 10-meter thick concrete and pinpoint precious water sources 60 meters underground. The business model is based on users paying a fee per hectare per year to access a web-based platform and analytical services. Aumsat currently has a client base of almost 4,000 diverse stakeholders. Irrigation department officers integrate the technology into regional and state-level water management plans. Farmers optimize their water usage for sustainable agriculture. Non-governmental organizations increase their impact in communities. And women, often the primary water managers in households, ensure water for domestic use is sustainably sourced and managed. The prize money will be invested to enhance satellite radar analytics and to launch hydro-social contracts that foster equitable water distribution and prevent monopolization. Congratulations to Aumsat Technologies LLP, paving the way for sustainable water resource management in a changing climate.
I'd like to invite Ridish Soni to receive the award on behalf of Aumsat Technologies, please. Please.
Hunger, poverty, farmer suicides are on a rise in India again, and climate change continues to affect millions. Helping us will improve the socio-economical water supply and demand and ensure equitable resource allocation for smallholder farmers. We thank our partners from UK, US, Japan, Germany, and India who have helped us to evolve the technology as well as look into the socio-economical aspects of the technological applications on the effects side. Come, join us in making the groundwater infrastructure of India resilient and sustainable. Thank you.
Congratulations to Aumsat Technologies. Now, last but not least, Innovation in Devolving Finance. This category is for organizations, projects, programs, and initiatives using innovative models that provide flexible, long-term, patient, and/or predictable funding for adaptation at the local level. The funding should be made available in ways that enable and support local determination of climate challenges, priorities, and solutions. I would like to invite Mr. Sabir Hussain Chowdhury, Special Envoy to the Prime Minister for Climate Change in Bangladesh, to announce the winner in the Innovation in Devolving Finance category.
I'm going to be very careful with this. I remember an instance in Bangladesh, and it was hot and humid. So the fan was blowing, and the individual who opened the envelopes suddenly saw the paper fly away. So I hope that's not going to be the case. So the winner in the Innovation in Devolving Finance category is LOGIC, the Local Government Initiative on Climate Change, Bangladesh.
In Bangladesh, the Local Government Initiative on Climate Change, or LOGIC, is enhancing communities' ability to plan and finance local adaptation actions that suit specific needs and contexts. The winners of this year's award in the Innovation in Devolving Finance category is the Local Government Division, Ministry of Local Government, Rural Development and Cooperatives, Government of Bangladesh, for its work implementing LOGIC so that climate-vulnerable communities can access markets and financing to upscale adaptive practices, diversify income sources, and invest in climate-resilient livelihoods. Almost 2 million people have benefited so far, including more than 400,000 households, that are now better equipped to cope with the impacts of climate change. Local people were involved in managing funds for 2 grants. Community resilience funds allow women-headed households to engage in climate-adaptive livelihoods, and performance-based climate resilience grants supplement local government budgets for adaptation interventions. Logic operates in 9 districts in Bangladesh, and some of the prize money will be used to support the highest priority adaptation project. Congratulations to the Local Government Division, Ministry of Local Government, Rural Development and Cooperatives, Government of Bangladesh, equipping communities and local governments with the knowledge, skills and tools to implement locally led adaptation efforts.
So we had hoped very much that Mr. Mohammed Ibrahim, who is the Secretary for LGED, would be here today. But since he couldn't make it, we've requested Dr. Farina Ahmed, the Secretary of the Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change, to please accept the award on his behalf. So.
Why don't you come? No, you go in the middle.
I would read out the message given by... Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed delegates and fellow winners, I would just read out the message given from the Local Government Division Secretary, Mr. Mohammed Ibrahim. Congratulations to fellow winners of GCA Local Adaptation Champions Award 2023, and good afternoon to you all. Warm greetings from Bangladesh. It is an honor for me to stand before you on behalf of Local Government Division, Government of Bangladesh, accepting the Global Center on Adaptation's Local Adaptation Champion Awards 2023, the category of innovation in devolving finance. This accolade is a recognition of not just our team's commitment, but also of the power of collaborative and innovative financial strategies in tackling climate change. The Local Government Division Initiative on Climate Change, that means LOGIC project, Local Government Division, Government of Bangladesh, is a collaborative effort of UNDP, UNCDF, the Government of Sweden and Denmark, European Union, and Bangladesh government. I must express our deepest gratitude to all our development partners. Your support has been crucial in enabling us to pioneer these innovative financial models and mechanisms. Your commitments to sustainable financing is helping transform the landscape of climate resilience. Our approach has been to ensure that climate finance is not just available, but is effectively channeled to the most vulnerable localities and households. We have employed a blend of local government funding, public-private partnerships, and community-based financing to amplify the impact of every dollar spent on climate adaptation. Through innovative finance, the LOGIC project has been able to reach areas that were previously underserved, directing resources to where they are needed the most. We have focused on not just increasing adaptive capabilities, but also on building sustainable economic opportunities, thereby creating a model that is both resilient and self-sustaining. Through this model, we have seen remarkable progress. Communities previously marginalized in climate finance are now actively engaging in resilience building activities. We have witnessed how small-scale community-led initiatives backed by sustainable financing can lead to a transformative changes. This includes the development of climate-resilient infrastructure, sustainable agricultural practices, and the empower of local governance institutions better plan, execute climate adaptation strategies. It's a long message. Here, I like to add that local government division has been undertaking various initiatives over the years in order to reduce the climate change induces risk and vulnerabilities. This ranges from policy formulation to building climate resilience infrastructure, capacity building, and targeted programs for vulnerable populations. This award is in innovation in devolving finance category propels us to consolidate our efforts and continue to explore and implement innovative financial strategies. We are committed to ensuring that our approach to climate finance remain dynamic, inclusive, and effective, addressing the upcoming challenges of climate change. We also aim to develop logic as a model that can be replicated nationally as well as adaptive globally, inspiring similar initiatives worldwide. I extend my heartfelt thanks to the Global Center on Adaptation for this prestigious award and recognizing our initiatives. It reinforces our belief that through innovative finance and collaborative efforts, we can make significant improvement in climate adaptation and resilience. Let us continue work together, harnessing the power of finance to protect our planet and ensure a sustainable future for all. Thank you.
Congratulations to the Local Government Division of Bangladesh. I would now like to invite Mr. Dag Sjorgen. I hope I pronounced this right. I did practice, I promise. Head of the Climate Group in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Sweden, a key supporter of the LOGIC program, to say a few words on the important role of donors in promoting locally led approaches. Thank you.
Hello. Hello. What a wonderful event. What a wonderful crowd. It makes you feel resilient, almost, as it should be. Distinguished guests, partners in resilience, Sweden celebrates this year 51 years of bilateral cooperation with Bangladesh. We've been pleased to partner on climate adaptation, resilience building, the humanitarian, disaster risk management. And the award to LOGIC really celebrates Bangladesh. Congratulations to Bangladesh, congratulations LOGIC, congratulations to all of us. Bangladesh is one of many very climate vulnerable countries on Earth. It's one of several very disaster risk prone countries on Earth. But Bangladesh is also a leader in climate adaptation practitioning and innovation. And it goes without saying, after having watched the movie and listened to Your Excellency, that LOGIC is such another proof of that leadership in you mobilizing resources and stakeholders on the ground for true adaptation building. So really, as a donor, thank you, because we're really in this together. We must find ways to not let us always be pushed to react, but adapt. And we as donors might have to be a bit more ready at times to look at the, let's say, business unusual projects and find new logics together with you. Sweden is proud to have been a co-creator of the LOGIC project back in 2015. And we look forward to continue our support as the project now goes nationwide. We're glad that Denmark has already stepped into the project. And I wish to commend the government, especially the Ministry for Local Government, Rural Development and Cooperatives, for your leadership. I wish to thank the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate for promoting LOGIC approach and integrating this into Bangladesh's climate strategies and plans. I wish to thank the UN, specifically the UNDP and the UNCDF, for the technical advice, guidance, and coordination it provides to the project. And I wish to say thank you, Global Center on Adaptation, for recognizing these important adaptation efforts happening in Bangladesh because we have all much to learn from them. We donors need enhanced risk appetite. You on the ground need to help us get down to the locally led level that has been so clearly highlighted throughout this session. And we stand ready to learn from you and continue to cooperate as best as we can. And thank you all. It's been a pleasure.
So it only remains for me to say a big congratulations and thank you to all our winners on all our behalf for their critical life-saving work. We look forward to working with you in the coming months to help in whatever way we can to help increase the impact of your work. Thanks to all of you who came here today. I wish you a good evening, but also to tell you that tomorrow the winners will have an opportunity to talk in more detail about their work. So we have a session at 3 p.m. in the UNCDF Pavilion. You are all welcome. And it'll also be a chance to engage with the winners to hear about what they've done. So if I may request the winners to come and join us in the front for a picture. Also any of the donors of the winning work, because I think we need to, and the country representatives, please, because I think this is a win not just for the organization, but for the country and the donor. So thank you very much and have a pleasant evening. Thanks.